Hey everyone, welcome to the guide for the Disgraced, GM Nightfall, and Safety in the Deep. This is going to be the build section, and then from there, after this follow will be the commentary section, where I go over the full run with commentary. On the subclass, I'm running Night Stalker. In this case, I'm running Mobius Squibber to help take out champions quickly. They usually spawn like 2 champions at a time right next to each other, so it's important to be able to take out one, because the other ones have a tendency to try to protect the current stunned champion, and so that's why I'm running Mobius Squibber over Deadfall. The abilities, I'll be running Marksman Dodge, just a faster dodge, and I like the reload. I'll be running Snare Bomb, of course, but this is going to be part of the build with the invisibility. Vortex Grenade, so that way things will be pulled together and grouped up. And also, if I get kills with the Vortex Grenade, that'll activate the Echo of Instability, so that I have volatile rounds, which I can go crazy with my machine gun. I'm also running Echo of Persistence, so that way I have the additional invisibility, and that's going to be the bigger one. Overshields help too, but invisibility is the big one, because this build was going to allow me to loop invisibility over and over again to the point where I'm never actually out of invisibility. And so as long as I execute it properly by making sure I run my seconds down until I use the next ability, I'll be able to be in a situation where if things go south, I can rescue my teammates very efficiently. I'll be running Echo of Obscurity, so that way I have an additional source of invisibility, and for also just a little bit of recovery. And then the Echo of Dilation is just for stats, that's just the 10 mobility, so I can round out and get up to 70 mobility, so that way I can fill out my build. I'll be running Vanishing Step, dodging makes you invisible, and I'll be running Trapper's Ambush, using my Quickfall, makes you invisible, as well as allies. Now, as far as the main build, you'll see here that I'm getting a stat balance of 100 strength, 100 resilience, and 70 mobility. Once I get a armor charge, the mobility will then become 100 mobility thanks to Font of Agility. So as long as I'm getting armor charge, I'll be able to always have the major abilities constantly generating. And unless I don't throw a grenade, then Grenade Kickstart won't take those away. They'll just decay over time. I'm running the authorized mods Arc, Void, Melee, Deeper Origins, Unto the Breach, which is important because that's going to allow me to get Void Breaches. The Protective Breach, that's going to give me the Overshield. Countercharge is going to be a great way to generate armor charges by stunning the champions. Supernova is going to be an additional bonus from having the Void Breach, and that'll synergize with my machine gun. And then squad goals, when I do have Devour, for example, going, I'll be able to share that with teammates if I pop a finisher. Now for the main mods, you can see the build here. I was making sure that I was able to generate with Harmonic Siphon the Void, that'll be my machine gun. Kinetic Siphon will be Wish Ender, additional heavy ammo. The Momentum Transfer and Bowstring Detonation mods are going to help feed into the ability energy generation. I'm running Void Reserve, so I have more machine gun ammo. Double Arc Reserve, since there's Arc Threat in the Disgraced. And then from here, these Absolutions are just for when I pick up orbs to get more abilities, so I always have invisibility ready. I'm running Outreach as well, and Distribution for the same thing. And then Proximity Wards, when I do get a finisher, in this case, since there's a tight quarters in this particular strike, I'll be always protected, and then once I go invisible, that Overshield will protect me from enemies that continue to fire, and they kind of linger when you're there. Now for the champion mods, I will be adjusting the artifact. I'll be taking the Unstoppable Glaive, so that way I can actually have the Unstoppable portion working with the Nizhraz Whisper. I'll fix that here before I start the run. And for the exotic, of course, I'm running Graviton Forfeit. This will allow me to have that ability regeneration and to keep my invisibility for longer so that it loops appropriately. On the weapons, I have 4th times the charm and killing tally on this roll of commemoration. I still have yet to craft one, so I've got to get that done eventually. Of course, Wish Ender is going to be for barrier champions. And on my Nizhraz Whisper, I'm running Genesis with adaptive munitions. The 2 main shields that you'll be running into are a lot of arc and then the fire shields with the hive. The fire shield shouldn't be a problem with adaptive munitions, and this is going to pop all the arc shields plus reload itself because of the Genesis. So it's a really nice glaive, in my opinion, one of my favorite glaives to run when you're trying to take out multiple different shields. And of course, the glaive itself is strong because that'll help me block damage in situations where I may be taking damage that I can't avoid. So that's pretty much it for the build itself. Very simple, and again, if you want to copy this, you can always go back, pause the video where you see the full build shown, and this will carry you through. And then on your ghost, of course, don't forget to do Prosperity Vanguard so that you get the additional drops. Now from here, I'll see you guys in the actual commentary section of the video. So the strike begins after a short sparrow ride through the complex, the terrestrial complex. Once you get in, it's important to just be aware of the enemies that are grouped up right in the doorway. If you're not ready for them, or if you don't get the jump on them, the barrier, like you'll see here, ends up getting its barrier abilities up. and when it does that, it really leads to a lot of early team deaths. You can get to a position where, since you only have the initial 4 revives, then you only have 1 person left, period, to deal with all that. Which, I mean, I guess it works out if you've got a strong player in your team, because they can just kill whatever's there, no problem, and then just pick up the guys and move forward. Because once you've got the space, once you get out of this little small initial area, you're fine. As you can see there, my double arc reserves are saving my life. You can also run 1 arc and 1 sniper, but later on it's kind of more useless since you're just dealing with Navota. So there's our first death.
Oh gosh, man.
Also, too, we had voice comms in this one. A couple of well, one of the Guardians had voice comms, the other one was typing in chat, so you'll hear a little bit of voice comms from me answering them back. Normally there's nobody talking on the mic. And so at this point, my goal is just to preserve a little bit of reses and try to get down at least this 1 barrier that came all the way out. But again, in this instance, what I did is I just fell back because I wasn't going to let myself get sniped 1 more time.
Yeah, like you're packing.
And here I protected him as well, just to make sure he didn't step right up into a snipe shot. What you can do with these Vandals too is, once these Vandals get a little far away from the barrier, they'll end up coming off of the barrier's shield ability, and then you can pick them off as well. So you'll see that as I'm fighting, I'm looking for opportunities to snipe at Vandals that are not protected, so I want to take them out of the equation so they won't be an issue. Also there, you saw that my barrier my barrier popping abilities were enhanced at that point because I had the volatile rounds. With volatile rounds, after the new changes for champions, you can actually pop barriers with your volatile round weapon. So I didn't even need to switch to my Wish Ender at that point. My machine gun was able to do just fine in that scenario. As you can see here, I'm just keeping an eye on these invisible marauders. They can sneak up on you. And I think this one had the modifier where you could get a 1-shot hit. My teammates seem to be getting killed by the thralls quite a bit later on, just by getting 1 hit by the thralls, so I just always wanted to make sure that I was quick on my feet and I didn't get tagged by anything that could 1-shot me from close range like that. And so here I'm grabbing the void breaches so that I can get my overshield and I can have the additional safety. I do hope that eventually they'll bring back the artifact mod where you can pick up a void or an orb and get the volatile rounds again, because that's such a good synergy with void to be able to just pick up orbs and have nothing but volatile weapons all the time. But it's alright, I'll generally do that with my grenade. And as you can see there, what I was doing was trying to make sure that that barrier just didn't have a chance. We already had it isolated and I was just like done with dealing with this room, so I hit it with my supers, that way it didn't really have a chance to get buried up again. Now here you're kind of in the same position that you were in the starting area. It's just not quite as cramped, but there is a lot of stuff that's going to be firing down your choke point, and those tracking arc bolts that they're shooting can take you out from around the corner if you're not careful. So if you're getting close to half health, make sure to take cover. That way you don't get yourself in that situation where you get picked off, because when you're with randoms, you're kind of still having to have a solo mentality. I used to trust my randoms to try to clutch it up, but if I can avoid it now, I try to, because it's like I'm supposed to be the one that's here, you know, ready to be able to do this solo if I need to. So I need to make sure I play my life and let them kind of do their thing as well, and not just try to kill everything and do everything by myself, but still play my life to make sure that I'm playing support in this case. And so now what I'm doing is I'm just picking at these barrier knights, see if I can get one of them to activate, though we can get some additional damage on it. And what that'll do is that'll force all of the ads that are hiding out of hiding, because they're going to try to push you off of your positions so that you can't kill the barrier knight. And so that's exactly what's happening. You'll notice that as I'm picking at this barrier knight, everything down there is coming after me. Like, my teammates are right in front of them, but yet the knight is still looking at me. The little acolytes are still looking at me because I'm flagged for having the damage onto the barrier knight, so they'll come after me. And while I'm doing that, I'm still trying to balance keeping the barrier knight's shields down. But if you need to fall back and just let the barrier knight recover, then that's fine. It's just sitting back there. It's not going to do anything to anybody, especially if you're running this build when you have such long range. Now in this situation, that barrier's a little further back. I tried to move up a little bit to bring through some of the ads into that super. And the same thing, I was picking at the barrier knight, trying to get it to force these ads upwards. And this is what caused the shriekers to open, which is good. You want to try to get the shriekers from back in the room if you can, because they can pretty quickly kill you if they both team up on you and you're out there. Another thing to watch out for is the ship's turrets. The ship's turrets can one-shot you if they catch you just right, so just be aware for that too, if you're standing out in the open versus back where I'm standing. And so there, when my teammate died, he probably died to like an acolyte grenade or something like that, because those will sometimes get like in your lower part of your screen, and they kind of come at you from a blind spot. Like, even though they're right in front of you and you see it activate, since you're in the middle of firing, you don't see it through your reticle. And so then it'll just be on the floor underneath you, cooking you. Next thing you know, you're dead. And here I'm trying to decide if I'm going to use my super or not. And I decide to go ahead and pop it because I'm just trying to get those two knights separated so that they can't dock and shield each other.
I'm reading dense hive signatures in a facility up ahead. I don't like this. It feels like a trap.
Then spoil their plans.
Now, this one's not quite as bad as some of the other ones when it comes to being cramped, because the ads that are here that are going to push up on you are going to be the Marauder type ads. With, in this case, they'll have the spears. They're going to be falling with the spears. So if they move up, that's fine, especially when you have your heavy out. As you can see here, I can easily put them down with the heavy before they even get close enough to hit me. And there I was just protecting my teammates, just trying to make sure that the snipers couldn't take their snipe shots. Also, I knew that Vandal was there, so I kind of waited for my teammate to move up, so that way if it did pop out, I was going to kill it before I could attack my teammate. Now here you want to be careful not to get yourself killed when you're like in the last guardian standing mode, because I think that can still wipe your team. So I just waited for a second so that way my teammates could port in and then I wouldn't be putting them in danger. And I went in Viz here because I remember in the past there was a bunch of Cursed Thrall here and they just didn't happen to spawn. I don't know if that's a new change to the strike or if they just didn't spawn because the public event was going on out there. But either way, you know, I just wanted to make sure I was safe. Speaking of Thrall, this is going to be the Thrall section. And so what you want to do here is you want to try to prepare everything for the Thrall wave. You're going to have Navota pop up here in the middle, and you're going to have to do damage to her to get her to leave. And as she's trying to also damage you with her arc spam, you're going to have a bunch of ads spawning. You're going to have the Knight with a bunch of Thrall, and then you're going to have 2 barriers. And so just try to, you know, throw grenades, jolt, whatever you have in order to crowd control. As you can see there, what was doing a lot of work for me was the volatile rounds. If it wasn't in habit of using my Wishender, I could have just easily popped the Knight Shield with my volatile rounds from my machine gun. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to protect my teammates as they do damage to Navota, because the wizards are going to try to sneak out and try to get their arc spam off, which can kill you if you're not prepared for them. Even Navota, as you see there, still she got me to about 40% health with just a few, like 2 or 3 bolts from her arc spam, so she can be really deadly if you're just not ready. She'll sneak up on you. And that's a great advantage too, as you're watching with the Wishinder bow, is that when you're fully drawn your ADS, you can actually see the enemies through the surfaces, so that way you can kind of prepare for them to peek out and get ready to put them down. Now here I'm just getting ready to deal with the ogre. I was trying to picket it through this little hole here, but like the arrow for some reason would go through it 1 or 2 shots, and then in that same exact spot it felt like it would get stuck every now and then too, so I just got tired, and I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna shoot it normally. And here I'm using my shield from the glaive to absorb a little bit of the ogre's blast. That way I can stun it while still not taking damage. Now, to be careful where you're standing here, because you have 3 knights that are going to be shooting at you with little boomers. You're going to have the barrier on top, and you're going to have 2 regular knights on the bottom. And so what I'm doing is I'm balancing the barrier knight on top with trying to suppress and pop the shields of the lower knights, so that way they take cover and they're not just like straight just owning my teammates. As you can see again, the game will protect the champions, or try to protect the champions, with the lower barrier knights. They were trying to hit us around the corner there. Now those Cursed Thrall are also pretty tanky, but with the Wishinder you should be able to just one-shot them pretty good, if not you can 2-body them, I believe. Now here in this section it's just going to be a wave of Thrall and Acolytes, and then you have your 2 barrier knights. And if you got nades and stuff, you can just stack all that up and just be ready to pop the knights when it's time. Which is here what I did. I basically just didn't want them to be able to sit there and like barrier up and then just be a problem when we're trying to kill all the little Thrall coming after us. So I just decided to pop my super there. Now to start the fight, of course, you just have to start killing the ads down there and move up. And once that happens, then you're going to have Navota pop up when it's time. I like to start the fight on the upper left side there, so you'll see me go and grab the ammo real fast from the portal. And then I'm going to hop up, and then I'm going to start doing damage from the side. And I like this side here because the Thrall can't easily get up there without having to go around, so you kind of know when they're there, you can hear them. And then also, too, you have protection from the right with this pillar that I'm standing next to. Now what I had to end up doing was I had to end up dropping down and picking at Navota when she was trying to hide behind this pillar and forcing her into my teammates, so I did have to put myself in harm's way of dealing with the Thrall. So that's why I dropped the nade there, so that I could kind of corral any Thrall that decided to come through that area. Now once you get her to set little health points, that's when she starts spawning ads. So you'll notice that the Thrall started spawning whenever she was, I think like a quarter health in. And then as you get her closer to the break point, the Thralls will start spawning again. And she's got about a quarter health left of her first you know, first meter section, which is really her quarter, but as you can tell, they're not exactly evenly spaced. Like the two lower halves of her health seem to be a little bit larger than the two upper halves of her shielded cutoff points. And so now the next section is going to be all the ads spawning on the right side. And I feel like the enemy density is not as much as it used to be. I don't know if they just tuned this down a little bit, but I just remember more stuff spawning. That, or I'm just getting better at spawn trapping and stuff, and as a team we were pretty good at killing everything before it really got out of hand. Of course, the biggest threats are going to be these Boomer Knights, because they can always get into that rapid fire mode where they just non-stop rapid fire their boomers and hit you with 2 or 3 of them and take you out at the same time. And so what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make sure that the shields are down for my teammates and that the Knights are manageable while I'm picking off Acolytes whenever the Knights are kind of in a position where I can't really see them. So if I picked off those 2 Acolytes there, I'm going to hop up and try to help take out this Knight. I've got my glaive out just in case. And then now we're going to end up fighting Navota. She's going to come up to the top. I'm going to try to pop her shields. Takes 2 shots from the glaive. And then I'll drop a grenade and hop back and just look for ammo and anything I can pick up. I probably should have tagged her with my super, but I was just being cautious and saving my super for the champions that spawn. And so here's kind of the more delicate part. Whenever you get into a situation where you get her to that half portion of that second bar and she starts spawning thralls, this is where you want to kind of be on your toes, because the thralls will sneak up on you. Obviously there's no shield, and then of course with that the melee damage is increased. I think that's empath is what it's called. As you can see, my teammate was saying the thrall got him. And hell, even the Curse Thrall happened to get me a couple times. Of course, I was ready for it, and I had my shields up and everything to protect me, so they didn't kill me, but they did at least do damage to me, and if I wasn't completely protected from that, I would have died. Careful. Now there, my teammate... My teammate got me stuck. And so when I popped in, I was like trying to tell him, I didn't catch it entirely, but I was trying to tell him, hey, you know, you blocked me in, be careful. I was trying to get away from her attacks, and I was moving to my right, and he was just there keeping me in place and just basically getting me killed. So after that maneuver there that happened, as you can see, that was the Curse Thrall that almost got to me. I just said, you know what, I'm just going to stay clear of these guys, because they positionally are not paying attention to who's around them, and they're not thinking ahead of time to not cut off their exit points. So I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna stay wide and try not to get too bunched up with them, so that way if they die, I'll still be available to pick them up. And so here, as you can see, once we get her down to that next section, here's the Unstoppables. And this is what I was saving my super for, and again, I'm kind of glad I did, because it made a big difference. We had that one spawn up there, and then we have one spawning down there to our left, and I'll get to him in a second. There's also going to be just like a normal ogre too, so I just have my glaive out just in case the ogre decided to focus me. And periodically I'm just checking for Thrall. Now I'm just taking my time to gather orbs so that I can get another super going when it's time to actually kill Navota here in a little bit. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to just get her attention. That way she can focus her attack on me. And if she's focusing her attack on me, my teammates can just sit there and blast her. Here's another wave of Thrall. You can see again when she gets down to about a quarter of her health missing from this bar, the Thrall spawn. And this is, again, the most hectic portion, is because you've got Curse Thrall like this one here, and again, I was taking it out with the finisher so that way it couldn't explode on me. And the other one did explode, but I had my overshield from the finisher itself, the proximity ward. I was stuck right there, I couldn't move. For some reason, I was hoping that I wasn't going to stay stuck, because then I would have just been helpless if any Thrall had gotten to me. And here again, I'm hunting out the Thrall, just so they can't kill my teammates, and I'm taking them out with finishers, just so they make sure that they're not going to be able to get off their explosion on me. And so here we are getting Navota down to her last bar. And this one here, again, it's like that winning time where she spawns down at the bottom, and she's going to end up being vulnerable the entire time. And so you just want to clean up all of the thrall and everything, and just make sure that nothing can get away from you. This is also kind of a hectic time because people will try their best to finish the boss, and they'll neglect all the stuff that's out there and just try to like burn the boss down, and that's a great time for them to get killed. Especially with all the constantly spawning Curse Thrall. I even tried to protecting that teammate that was there next to all those Curse Thrall, and he still got popped. And I said, you know what, if I res this guy here, he's just going to bait him, he's just going to end up dying. So I went all the way across to get the other guy first. I could stay invisible forever. And then I fell back. I would have been fine the whole time. My teammate was trying to kill me by popping Curse Thrall on me there, as you see. Alright, winning time. And so that's pretty much how you, carry a couple people through here. You want to make sure that you stay safe. Keep an eye on the Thrall. Make sure that you're not being the one that's picked off. And of course, again, since you have that empath, no radar, additional melee damage, they can one-shot you if you're not high enough resilience. And my build is kind of designed to tank all of that and to be able to pick that's pretty chill. And then you could see how my teammates were even saying, "Hey, that one's done for the night." You know, it's 3 AM for me. I was just trying to get this run in before get my guild. And now here is just GG's time, just making sure everybody gets their commendations, and knows that it was a good run. All right, GG guys.
GG's.
And that's pretty much it. From here, I'm just gonna pop up again, me getting into my Conqueror and getting my Conqueror Guild for the season. Thanks very much for watching to the end, and again, just like I said in the last video, thanks very much for all the new subscribers, and if you got to the end of this video as well, appreciate a like and subscription too. I'll see you guys in the next one.